Today I'm in a county that first inspired millions of Britons to grab a bucket and spade and escape to the seaside. Find out where I am in just a moment. Today, a father and daughter team is searching for a shared home for their two families.
Jenny would love it.
Really?
Yeah, she would. She'd love it.
And I've certainly got my work cut out.
No, sorry. That's not me.
Today you'll find me in the county of North Yorkshire, and this is the UK's first ever vernacular or cliff railway, Scarborough's famous Spar Cliff Lift. Now, it was constructed in 1873 for a cost of £800, and the tracks run more than 80 metres up this very steep gradient. Originally powered by hydraulics using seawater, the lift was designed to connect the South Cliff Prom with Scarborough Spa, whose mineral-rich waters established this town as the original seaside resort in the UK. Now, this lift certainly demonstrates man's ability to overcome a problem, while the North Yorkshire countryside reveals the full and spectacular wonder of Mother Nature. North Yorkshire is located in the north of England. It's bordered by 6 other counties, including West Yorkshire, South Yorkshire and East Riding of Yorkshire, and the North Sea runs along its eastern edge. Around 40% of the region is taken up by national parks, offering dramatic moorland and a spectacular rugged coastline. The remarkable North York Moors National Park envelops 554 square miles, with panoramic vistas erupting with great expanses of vivid purple heather. But it's not all about the striking scenery. North Yorkshire also boasts exquisite architecture, such as York Minster, the medieval cathedral with its spectacular Gothic-style exterior and vibrant stained glass windows. So, with its gift from Mother Nature coupled with villages packed with gorgeous stone houses, North Yorkshire is an idyllic destination for an escape from city life. Despite a beautiful and impressive backdrop, property prices here in North Yorkshire command quite a reasonable price tag, as the cost of an average detached home in the county comes in at just over £269,000. Now, that's just a few £100 above the national average, but as the largest county in the UK, prices can vary considerably throughout the region. And I'm sure it'll come as no surprise that the striking North York Moors and the Yorkshire Dales draw the highest premiums. So let's find out what attracts today's buyers to this particularly picturesque part of the UK. Secretary Penny and her retired father Richard have lived in Ipswich all their lives. Together, they've taken on the tall task of finding a shared new home for themselves, plus Penny's husband Mark and her mother Jenny.
We share the same interests, we really get on together. We do have a laugh and we do enjoy each other's company. The idea would be to live in separate accommodation, because obviously we all need our own space.
Own space.
Yeah.
But there for each other if we require. Which is basically what we've got now, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Richard and Jenny currently live in a bungalow on the outskirts of Ipswich, and Penny and Mark 4 miles away in this detached house. But they've decided that the time has come to follow their country dream.
Well, Ipswich, I was born and bred here, never 5 miles from the town centre. But I remember it as a market town. But now it's become more urbanised and more congested. So it doesn't sort of live for a pleasant life as I saw it as a boy.
And it's North Yorkshire, somewhere they've enjoyed visiting over many years, that they've decided they want to call home.
When you go to places like Yorkshire, you really see that it's not as built up. There's more open space, and to me, it's wilder.
And they're very, very friendly people. They've got a lovely community spirit. North Yorkshire, yeah, fantastic.
And the scenic North Yorkshire countryside is perfect for the hobbies the two couples share.
We love walking together, bird watching, anything to do with wildlife. We get out enjoy the country air, because it's what we enjoy together.
But it's not just going to be about leisure time. The two families are hoping to start up a new business from their new home.
Hope the business side of things will either have enough land to do glamping, which is basically a glorified tent with a wood burner. It's just a bit more glamorous than the average tent. And if we haven't got the land to do that, hopefully we might already have cottages that are already there.
And whether it's work or play, both Penny, Richard and their families are looking forward to a completely new start.
When we move to Yorkshire, I speak on behalf of all of us, that we feel that pace of life will be slower. I think I'm most excited about being in the countryside, just looking out your window, seeing the countryside, instead of being on a housing estate, and hopefully peace and quiet and just wildlife around you.
It's time to move on, I think, before it's too old for me anyway.
Penny and Richard love all that North Yorkshire has to offer and are hoping to find a new family home close to the magnificent moors. So before we begin our search for a slice of some of the most beguiling countryside England has to offer, I'm meeting them in the northerly county to discover exactly what it is they're looking for.
Well, Richard and Penny, why did you pick this county?
Well, years ago we used to do motorhome caravanning, and we settled up here near Whitby, and we had a fantastic time, and we do a lot of walking, and we came across the moors. So we thought, oh, nice place to set up a new ambitious dream of either holiday lets or something similar.
Have you ever done anything like this before?
No.
No.
No. But then, new challenge. We thought, well, why not have a go?
Have you done any business plans, any research?
No business plan, I'm afraid.
The dream of the business is cottages, holiday lets, glamping.
Yeah, if we could, if we got the land.
So in a way, for you, Penny, would I be right in thinking the business is the most important?
Yeah, I think so, because we've got to have some income.
Richard, for you and your wife?
The house.
The house.
But obviously we'd chip in with the business.
We could be slightly pulling in different directions. What are you looking for in this new home?
Traditional build, be nice, and a lovely surrounding area.
And what about you, Penny? What do you want?
I'd really like something that's not particularly modern, with all this. A lot of properties now have a lot of glass in them, and in a nice area. A lot of countryside around it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many bedrooms?
Be happy with 2. Don't want particularly loads.
Separate kitchen,
Yeah,
separate bathroom,
kitchen. Yeah.
separate...
Yeah.
Huge house for you two.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Remind us again of your budget.
550,000.
And is there any flexibility on that if it needs doing up? Are you happy to take on a project?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How much have we got left to do a little bit of a project?
I would say about 50.
OK, so ideally the property's 550, and then if we need to, we can dip in an extra 50.
Yeah.
We are in the most beautiful part of the world. There is so much here in North Yorkshire to see, so I think we should get started, don't you?
Yeah.
Come on then, follow me.
Okay.
With the proceeds from 2 house sales, Penny and Richard will have a pretty generous budget, with a little extra, if needs be, to spend on their rural idyll. But they're slightly at odds with what each family is looking for. They're hoping that we can open their eyes to different possibilities on offer. What they do know is that they want 2 separate living quarters, for Penny and her husband Mark, and Richard and his wife Jenny. And they want somewhere on site that can be utilised as a holiday let, or enough land to offer upmarket camping. They're also hoping for somewhere rural, but not too remote. I'll be taking them to visit 3 contrasting properties, all offering them totally different living and business options. And once they've had a good look around each house, its cost will be divulged. The final visit will be to the mystery house, which will open the doors to far-off memories for both father and daughter. We're kicking off our property hunt with our first house, situated on the outskirts of the ancient market town of Pickering. It's just under 50 minutes northeast of York and on the border of the North York Moors National Park. Pickering has the waterway Pickering Beck running through it and is also home to a splendid 13th century castle. There's plenty for visitors and locals to see and do, with the steam railway a fabulous attraction and a great selection of quaint shops and cafes. A 1¼ mile journey from town, and we've arrived at our first property.
Quite impressive.
Nice Yorkshire stone. Yeah, traditional.
So converted barn. Do you like what you see?
Yeah, I don't dislike it.
I dislike it.
No.
No one's jumping up and down though, are they? But
Dead right.
as first impressions
First impression's
go,
good.
let's step inside the barn.
Okay.
Lovely, thank you.
This handsome stone barn with its pan-tiled roof is around a century old and was converted almost 20 years ago into a bright and spacious family home. And I've got a surprise up my sleeve which is hidden from view, but I'll let Penny and Richard in on the secret later.
So, starting off with pretty large dining room in my book.
Nice high ceilings. My husband's tall.
Jenny would love it.
Really?
Yeah, she would. She'd love it.
Well, you've got to keep the missus happy, haven't we, Richard?
Yeah, very good. Better inside than actually out.
It's how you might live life as two families here.
Very nice.
Potentially.
Food for thought.
Behind us by the back door there's a cloakroom, and also on the ground floor is a utility room, a sunroom and a sitting room. And leading off from the dining room is a kitchen diner which opens onto the south-facing garden.
First impression for me, the kitchen space is not very big. The space is big, but
Yeah.
the kitchen area,
Diner, isn't it?
yeah, is not.
But then again, you could do away with the dining room area because you've got the dining area in there.
Yeah.
You have to compromise, don't you? Not bad so far.
Good start then. We're doing well on the ground floor. Let's see how you feel about upstairs.
Okay.
And we're headed straight for the master bedroom.
That'd be ours.
Well, obviously. Obviously.
I was going to say, who's going to have the master? Because it does have a very nice ensuite behind me as
Oh,
well.
right. Yeah.
Do you like it?
I can't comment because it's not my room.
You've been told, Richard.
I've been told, so I'll be kept quiet.
Well,
Yeah.
the barn has 3 bedrooms, it has the family bathroom. I don't know about you, but I think I'd find it quite difficult to cut it in half.
Definitely.
Would you want to live in this barn?
Individually, yes. But as a family, no.
Look at the view. That's what you want every day, isn't it, to wake up to that? Only one family can really live in this barn, I think.
know. So what have you got as the annex then?
Well, that's what Penny and Richard are about to find out. Outside and opposite the barn is a converted garage block.
What you've got here is 2 large double garages, plus this office area and a mezzanine floor upstairs.
Right.
But you've got so much space. If you converted here and next door, you could easily have a second home here. Or you convert this into a holiday let and both families live in the big house.
The potential's there, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've got you thinking, haven't we?
Certainly have.
Didn't expect to think.
This beautiful stone barn with its additional buildings sits in stunning North Yorkshire countryside. We've seen there's the potential for 2 dwellings, but how about space for paying guests?
Now, you wanted quite a bit of land to go with the business, didn't you? It's about 1.5 acres. So I'm thinking glamping, I'm thinking yurts. You do have the space, but you've also got a private garden, which is enormous.
It's lovely. Not too much looking after.
Let's see if you can afford it.
I really haven't got any clue, but I would imagine it most probably is just under our budget, maybe at 549,950.
I would say just over budget, 575.
The original asking price, because it has just come down, was 575. The good news for
really?
you
Is
two
it really?
is £550,000.
Spot on.
Ooh.
You haven't explored it all yet, so why don't you take a second look?
Yeah.
And then when you're ready, come and find me.
Okay.
That's right.
Thanks very much.
Have a wander on your own. Thank you.
This tastefully converted barn is on the market bang on Penny and Richard's budget, leaving them no change, but they do have a pot put aside which they could dip into if needs be. They love the traditional property, and there's potential to create a separate abode if the garage and office block were turned into a second home. And with around 2 acres of land, 1.5 acres of that a paddock, their glamping business would be ready to go.
I was pleasantly surprised, which was a bit of a shock. I really, really quite like the inside, more than I thought I would. I personally could see myself living here.
The vibes from this house are quite good, actually. First impressions, excellent. Not quite sure about the annex capabilities, but the potential's there.
Given us a bit of a problem, Nicki.
Go on.
We both love the barn, so there'll be arguments.
But the annex shows potential.
It does. I'm glad you can see that. We wanted you to think with this first property. I think we've managed that, but I've still got more to show you, so let's go.
There's no denying North Yorkshire is brimming with gorgeous countryside, and a large amount of that is shrouded under a dense canopy of trees. Hundreds of years ago, warriors would use local wood to create handcrafted weapons. Penny and Richard both love nature, so we've arranged for them to meet Ben Chester, who makes the most of what the natural environment has given the region. He runs courses teaching traditional rural crafts in Sesse in the Vale of York.
So I'm making an Old English longbow. This is a
Fantastic.
piece of ash that we've selected out to make a bow that is similar to that they used in Agincourt and that they found on the Mary Rose. So it's a very traditional type of bow.
Can you tell me, Ben, why you make them and what the purpose is of them?
We make the longbows because it's trying to keep the traditional skills alive.
After Ben has used an axe to cut the bow to the size he wants, it's time to shape it using a double-handled knife. He uses a wooden contraption called a shave horse to hold the bow in place.
So we use the draw knife with nice, long, even strokes to take off small amounts of material to shave it down to the right size.
So how long would it take to actually work your way down to the lines of the bow?
It'll take 2 or 3 hours. Would you guys like to have a go?
Yeah, sure. Give it a whirl.
Take a seat. That's great.
You make it look easier.
It's only easy once you've been doing it for 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years.
I think when you've done it a little while, it's a lot easier to get it smoother.
But it's all about technique, really, isn't it?
It's all about technique and getting everything set up that is right for yourself.
Making a traditional longbow is a skilled and lengthy process. And after the bow has been shaped, the next stage is the tillering process, which puts the curve into the bow.
If we were just to make a bow, put a string on it and pull it, it would just snap straight in half. So this is a process where we're going to teach it to bend, teach it want to move. So we're going to stress the fibres a little bit and then stress it a little bit more and a little bit more. So actually get it so it will pull right the way back to your draw length, which is how far you'll draw a bow. So what we're going to do is to bend the bow. So with the bow mounted in the tillering post, we can pull down and we slowly work the bow. So over time, we'll slowly be able to draw it further and further down as the fibres in the bow give a little bit. You'll probably end up doing this 1,500 to 2,000 times. This is one of the most critical parts of bow making is the tillering process.
It can take 3 days to make a longbow, and even a trained craftsman can take a day and a half before it's ready to be shot.
This is a finished longbow.
Right.
So as you can see, it's about 6 foot long. This has a draw weight of about 60 pounds, so it's not too heavy and should fire about 140 yards.
Gosh. So that is the same sort of bow they'd use in the medieval times?
Yes, yeah. It's a very faithful replica. Right then, so firing a longbow, face the target, drawing right back, firing.
So you fire almost immediately then?
You fire immediately, yes. We have no sights or anything like that, so you have to feel for how you fire.
Penny and Richard have taken it all in. Now it's their turn to take a step back in time.
Fantastic.
Oh, got it in.
Well done. Fantastic, second one in. Yay! Fantastic, well done.
Brilliant.
You're good.
Nice and gentle, yeah. Almost. Another one.
Not as easy as it look, is it?
Let's draw back a little bit higher. Oh, fantastic! Almost a bullseye.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. That's really, really good.
Thank you very much, Ben.
No problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hope you really enjoyed
Very
your
nice to
day.
meet you.
3 inches from ball?
Almost,
Can't be
yes.
bad.
Not bad at all.
Well
Thank
done.
you.
Travelling 50 miles north takes us to our second property in the village of Goathland, right in the middle of the North York Moors National Park. Goathland forms part of the Duchy of Lancaster's private estate, owned by Her Majesty the Queen. Here sheep have grazing rights and roam freely. This pretty village is quite the tourist attraction, with the TV series Heartbeat having been filmed here, plus Harry Potter at Goathland Station. On the outskirts of the village is our second property, a statuesque semi-detached house which will ask Penny and Richard to think outside the box.
So this time we've brought you into the actual national park. Have you been to Goathland before?
Yeah, we all have.
Have you?
Several times.
Yeah.
Driving through, you probably noticed just how many tourists there are here.
Well, when me and Mark came and we visited the church, we actually walked past this property and sort of said, oh, I don't reckon they're short of visitors.
No.
So it's a bit deja vu.
So it is a very successful B&B business. It's got a great reputation, lots of returning customers. How would you think about running it, two families side by side?
Yeah, something we've spoken about, but not in great depth. We were more swayed towards the holiday lets and the glamping, but doesn't hurt to look at all your options.
Yeah, absolutely. Step inside.
Yes.
Step inside.
Thank you.
This stone property is thought to date back to the 1800s and has had a complete internal overhaul in recent years. Its impressive interior is apparent the second you step through the door, but with no separate living quarters for the two families, it will require looking at things in a different light.
So this is, one, a very large house, and two, there's quite a lot to explain, but this is the private part of the house. So this will be the first sitting room that we're going to show you, and then I'll explain more as we go on.
Reserve judgment.
I'm not getting the same expression as I had with the first property.
Well, no, because you spoilt us with the first property, and this is completely different.
Well, it is, because
Think.
this is a business. Roughly how much do you think you could make a year?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Around £50,000 a year.
Is it really?
Gosh.
That's not bad income, is it?
Not bad.
And this is one of the most successful B&Bs in this area. That's what you're buying into. But let's keep going, because Richard's not so keen on this room.
As we move through this colourful sitting room in this dual-purpose home, we find ourselves in an equally vibrant kitchen. But will this room be to Richard's taste?
No, sorry. That's
No,
not me.
Things can be changed if it's not
Of course.
quite right for you.
In addition to the bold kitchen, there's a utility room and a private dining room. There's also one guest bedroom, a guest dining room and a further room in an extension. Moving upstairs to the first floor, there's another 3 guest bedrooms, each with an ensuite and each with a statement to make.
So this B&B has 4 different themed rooms.
Obviously, it's the black and white thing. My goodness. A bit overpowering for me, that one.
But standing here seeing how well this B&B's been done, are you tempted?
I've always thought about it. And it's always been my husband that is hard work.
Running a B&B is hard work, but the rewards of working from home can be very beneficial. In this house, the owner's private living quarters are on the 2nd floor. There's a family bathroom and 3 bold double bedrooms.
I normally say, would you change anything? I don't think I need to ask
Everything.
that question.
Definitely the decor.
Decor for the private area.
Yeah.
Because if you changed every room in this house, my goodness, it'd be an awful lot of work.
Wow.
There's certainly a lot of house here, and it's set in a stunning location too, which can be seen in all its glory as we step outside.
So this is your land, and that's more land, just there.
Right.
Quite close
That's
then.
the
Yeah,
bank.
it's got to be right from the business point of view, but I appreciate it's also got to be right as a home. So let's see if the price makes any difference.
I think it's going to be considerably over our budget.
Are you going to give me a price?
I am. 585.
OK.
425.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm sorry. That'd be worth to me.
Gosh.
Who is closest? That's the question. And it's going to be Richard.
Really?
Yeah. Asking price is £450,000.
Gosh.
Is it really?
I'm totally shocked.
Look, your dad's even broken into a smile.
I
There's
have, haven't I?
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
Why don't you take another look around? There's an awful lot of rooms
There's
to get
more.
through.
Thank you very
See you in a
much.
minute.
so much.
Okay, thank
Have
you.
another look.
This semi-detached stone house is a cool £100,000 under Penny and Richard's budget, which would leave them plenty of cash to give it a makeover to suit their tastes. And as an existing bed and breakfast, if they choose it as their new home, it would make them money too. It's got enough bedrooms for them, plus guests and private living quarters. And its location couldn't be closer to nature, perfect for long family walks, but not too far from civilization either.
This must be the dining room. Not particularly my taste, but serves its purpose, doesn't it? I may have to fight the corner for house 2. It's something for me to consider and maybe talk to the others about. But for me, I can really see the business potential.
My feelings about house 2 are very disappointing after house 1. Because as a home, it's going to be a no-no for Jenny and myself, but as a business, for Penny and Mark, fantastic. For me, it's a bit claustrophobic to think that the 4 of us have got to live in here with the guests.
It's impressive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Location, brilliant. But residential, for myself and my wife, no.
No, not a
Sorry, Nicki.
home. Oh, I've still got some work to do, haven't I?
I'm afraid.
Okay, let's go.
Thanks.
It's the second day of our search for a multi-purpose home in North Yorkshire for Penny and her father Richard from Ipswich. They've got a healthy £550,000 between them to spend and are hoping to find somewhere for them and their families where they can start up a new business, either holiday lets or on-site glamorous camping called glamping. Coming up, I'll be bringing back memories with our mystery house.
Oh my goodness. That is what I think. Totally shocked.
And I'll be learning how Technicoloured stained glass windows are made in all their glory.
Oh, it's fascinating. Yesterday, it was a story of 2 halves. 2 homes, 2 families tied together with one budget. And I'm now really struggling to work out where their priorities actually lie. Because, well, for Penny, it's all about the business. But for Richard, it's certainly about the home. Today, we're going to show them a different proposition. And I'm really hoping they can see past the quirkiness of our mystery house, because then they may find a home that suits all their needs.
For our third and final visit, we're travelling just under 11 miles northeast to the village of Horsker, just south of Whitby and also part of the North York Moors National Park. The traditional maritime town of Whitby, where Captain James Cook supposedly trained as a seaman in the 1700s, has a busy harbour at its centre. There's a welcoming sandy beach flanked by tall houses sitting on the lap of a steep grassy cliff overlooked by the 13th century Whitby Abbey. All a great draw for tourists. A 7-minute drive away outside the village of Horsker is our last property, in the shadow of a fully functional lighthouse.
So I think when it comes to mystery properties, well, this one is in a league of its own because it is a foghorn station. Ever been to one before?
Walk right past that from Whitby.
Have you really?
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh my goodness. That is what I think. Totally shocked.
We've really surprised you.
For me, yeah.
Really have.
Yeah.
And the good news is this is a home, but it's also a business.
Really?
Yeah. So built about 1850. Originally, it was a lighthouse, believe it or not. Then it became a hornblower cottage, and that really ran until 1988.
The foghorn used to sound 4 times every minute and a half, working alongside the lighthouse in stormy conditions to warn passing boats of the cliffs below.
Did you ever hear it in action?
1979.
Did you?
We've been beating Whitby and that was booming when the fog came in.
So you've actually heard it?
We actually heard it all night long.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, you both said that you like traditional homes, but obviously, you know, with our mystery, we're going to do something a little bit different. And it is quirky, but if you can see past the quirkiness, then, well, you might realise there's full potential here.
Part of this unique property is divided into 2 cottages, and we're entering the smaller of the 2 through a side door, leading straight into a dining area. I've got this cottage earmarked as Richard and his wife Jenny's.
So we're going to start off, I think, with... We'll make sure that Richard's happy with his part of the property. This is your kitchen.
Different.
Now, you've been in this building.
Yeah, when it's been decommissioned.
So it's going to be interesting to see the changes. How well do you remember walking around?
Well, it's just concrete floor, plaster, everything completely empty.
Right.
It's nice. Quite surprising.
This property is all on one floor, but the room next door to the kitchen is on a slightly higher level.
So just up a few little stairs, and it leads us to an open-plan living space.
Gosh.
This side of the old Foghorn station is currently used as a holiday let, and included in the living room are the sleeping quarters, which could be partitioned off for added privacy.
And then behind us, you've got a really beautifully appointed bathroom.
Quite good, isn't it? It works, doesn't it, for the style of the house?
Penny?
Totally different, not at all what I expected. Very light, airy, and spacious.
So we've seen just a small part of what's on offer here, and next door is another cottage, accessed through the first property's kitchen or through an outside door. And down a long corridor is a large kitchen diner.
We've divided up this property with you being one side and Penny being this, but you can fight amongst yourselves because this is much larger.
It's not terrible, it's not to my standard, but the space, that's what you have to look at, isn't it? Because you can change everything else.
Beyond the kitchen is a small sitting room, and beyond that there are 3 bedrooms. All doubles, and the largest is dual aspect with its own ensuite.
So this is the master bedroom.
Nice size, nice light, lovely view of the lighthouse and the sea together.
It'd be great to wake up to that.
Very nice.
So far I've shown Penny and Richard a cottage for each of them and their partners. And the last stop is a 3rd, smaller annex. Attached to the rest of the property, but with its own front door, it could work for their new business venture.
This is a self-contained holiday let.
Ah.
Right, it goes
So-
on, doesn't it?
Double bedroom, bathroom, and then sort of kitchenette, plus sort of sitting area.
First impression, a bit pokey.
First response, you're not living here.
No, it's a week, isn't it?
Also, you do have about an acre of land. So if you still had the dream for glamping and your own yurt, you could get a yurt there. That's your land.
Lot to think about.
Yeah.
From what we've seen, this one-off home with its spectacular views is offering Penny and Richard everything they've asked for. Plus outside there's also a shed, a garage and an outbuilding. Now I want to show them the full extent of its unusual exterior and its cliff-top location.
So, standing here, you really can see the whole of the property. And you can see it's actually quite wide, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is.
Let's put a price on this thing, shall we?
Oh my goodness.
Very difficult, but I'm just going to say 485.
Come on, Daddy, what do you reckon?
600.
Who is closest? Asking price? £525,000.
Oh, so I was nearest.
You were closest. We'll take another look.
Okay,
Please
thank you.
This extraordinary converted Foghorn station is £25,000 under Penny and Richard's budget and offers them 2 adjoining properties for them and their partners, plus a 3rd, perfect as a holiday let with good earning potential. It's set in around an acre of land which could easily accommodate yurts, and there are spectacular views out to sea. The property's in a quiet location, a walker's paradise, but not far from the local village and town.
The mystery house to me is a complete shock, complete surprise. Never in a million years would I ever have thought you'd have brought me somewhere like this.
Well, the mystery house was a very, very pleasant surprise, actually, because I know the history of it, which is ironical.
When I first came, I said I didn't want anything quirky, but now you've shown me something quirky, I think I'm a bit more open-minded, because it's totally and utterly different to anything I would ever think of looking at.
The potential's there, and just got to go away and think about it.
This mystery house has certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons. Right, how are we feeling?
Puzzled.
Yeah?
Exhausted.
Yeah. Takes it out of you, all this house hunting, but hopefully you might have got close. So let's go somewhere quiet, sit down, have a chat, and work out what your next step's going to be.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
North Yorkshire is home to beautiful churches and cathedrals with exquisite stained glass gracing many a window. St Mary's Church in Ebbston, towards the east of the region, has wonderful examples from the 19th century. It's stained glass artist Val Green's job to keep them looking just as they did when they were first put in almost 150 years ago.
Now, this is a very unusual skill, isn't it? Sort of working and replacing stained glass windows. Is this something that's been in your family for a long time?
It goes back to great-grandfather, so that's 1884.
My goodness.
Which is about the age of some of the windows in the church.
And over 1,000 years ago, at the birth of stained glass, the intricately designed windows weren't just there to look pretty.
The people who came to church, they couldn't speak Latin, so they couldn't understand the services. So they would gaze at the windows, and the windows were the Bible of the poor, so they used them as a teaching tool, if you like.
The beautiful windows in this church have stood the test of time, but not without a little help.
Every maybe 100, 150 years, the windows have got to be taken out, stripped down, the glass is cleaned, any broken pieces are replaced and then re-leaded. So this is where we come in with our workshop.
Val has been repairing and restoring stained glass for the past 35 years, and she works closely with Andy Breppy, who removes the delicate glass before either he or Val repairs it.
We're removing the round piece at the top.
Andy uses a hacking knife to carefully chip away at the surrounding cement, gently releasing the pane of glass which has a large hole in it.
I mean, now, with it being so close to us, you can really see the damage. So Val's going to be ready, is she?
Yes, if you could take that back for me, that'd be super.
OK, I'll be the custodian.
Yes, please.
Val's workshop is 15 miles away in Caton, where she repairs and restores around 20 churches' stained glass windows a year.
So Val,
Hello.
safely transported to your workshop.
Oh, just look at that face.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. It is a work of art.
Val will use a sheet of antique glass to repair the hole in the window.
It's called antique glass because it's made to the same recipe as glass was made 1,000 years ago. And if we don't do exactly what the original artist did, we're not going to get a good copy. So this is our job today. So once we've got the glass and we've cut it to shape, then we start painting. And glass paint is powdered glass, and it's just mixed with a pigment. It's either brown or black.
The powdered glass is mixed with gum arabic, a natural glue, to help it stick, and then water's added to make the paint. And to create the effect of shading, the glass is covered in the paint, and when it's dry, the design is scratched off.
So, Nicki, can you match that pattern on here?
Oh, my goodness. Right, here we go. So, and I can use my quill?
You can.
I
You
love
can
the
try
fact
it with the quill.
I can use this. OK, so... Not too sure about the nib.
Well, try that. Maybe that would be better.
Try that one. OK, let's have a little go.
What you're doing is controlling the amount of light that comes through that piece of glass. So it's not important the amount of paint you put on, it's important the amount that you take off.
So Val, I've got to take this opportunity to ask you just to show me how it should be done.
I think you've done very well, Nicki. Here, they've taken all the paint off, so I would scratch away at the edges. And maybe a brush. So you can use all these different things to get the effect that you want. It's very painstaking. It's not something you can rush, really.
But the glass you can see is already coming alive.
Yes, it's 3 dimensions to it. It's adding another dimension to the glass.
How wonderful, and also rewarding that everything that you do is going to be around not just for 150 years, but a lot longer than that as well.
It is nice to be able to look at restored work and think, nobody knows it's been broken. So
Yes.
that's the ideal, really.
Yes, I suppose that's the perfect compliment if you can't see the join.
Yes.
Yeah, well, it's fascinating. Val, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure.
Three different homes and 3 very different business ideas. But what really shocked me was Penny and Richard's reaction to our mystery house. They certainly made the right noises. Let's find out a little bit more. You set us quite a challenge. But have we challenged you over the last few days?
You certainly have.
Well, that leads us then to, what is the next move going to be?
With the last surprise one, a possibility that we need to go back to our partners and say, we need to have a look at that one and see what comes of it, because the potential's there. We just don't know if all the figures will add up to what the dreamer will achieve.
So it does sound like with the mystery house, we've got tantalisingly close.
I would say so. Because you've got the business, you've got the 2 houses, you've got a lot of options.
We're thrilled that we have got as close as we can. And there's a chance that mystery house might work, mightn't it? If that doesn't happen, what are you going to do?
I'm thinking more me and Mark, maybe going it alone, maybe to do bed and breakfast.
So, Richard, how would you feel about that?
We're flexible, so
You wouldn't mind?
I wouldn't mind.
No.
Not at all.
No. Well, listen, we wish you well. I'm not quite sure which direction your lives are going to take, is the honest truth.
It's been a really big thinking process, hasn't it?
It has, for all of us.
Yeah.
We started this house search with Richard and Penny with a certain air of uncertainty. And after 2 solid days house hunting here in North Yorkshire, well, I don't think we're any further down the road. However, what I hope we've done is shown them some possibilities that they may not have considered before. And now, I truly think the time is right for them to return to their partners and seriously discuss what the best move is for the whole family. Wherever they decide to live, either together or apart, we wish them all the very best. I'll see you again on Escape to the Country.
Penny and Richard and their families are thinking of staying in the holiday let at the Mystery House to get first-hand experience of what it's like before they decide if they want to take it on as their new shared home and new family business. If you would like to escape to the country in Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, England, or perhaps even further afield to the continent and would like our help, you can apply online at bbc.co.uk/beonashow.